We'll just go to the basic fundamental. We feel there's something called time, yes? Like a tick always followed by a tock, and a tick and a tock, and a tick and a tock, The movement of duality. Tick, tock, tick, tock. What would happen if it was tick, 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 tick? But no, it's tick, tock, yeah. And knowing it or not, when you wake up, you started at a later point, yes? You don't start, but the starting implies there's a you. But before that, like there was a famous uh early Chan, like Chinese Zen, who would talk about you're the unborn, you're the unborn. So in other words, let's say a birth, this moment gets birthed in time, yeah? The delivery of this moment is in time. But what's before time? And many people have pointed out that we are the unborn, yeah, before time. Yes, very clear. But what happens with a head when it hears that it's the unborn before time? It can only hold that understanding as something manufactured in time, yeah? So the unborn doesn't get that it's the unborn, yeah? What wants to get that it's the unborn has already started. Yeah, it's in the born uh reality, yes. And traveling in the born, BORN reality, it's looking for any answer, and one of them is you're the unborn. And then it ponders it as a born. So the unborn is born. And here we find ourselves. I don't see what else you could actually present as a message, because the first salvo of non-duality is being ourselves reality. That's it. Yeah. So every other part of the message is about what we're not. Yeah. Because what you are is a fact, and what you're not assumes to be a fact. Under questioning, or actually just satsang speculation, so to speak, when you just sort of pause and let the mind do whatever it does, the big M mind, you start seeing that when someone's saying you're the unborn, it's not like the born before it was unborn, or before it was born. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the born. You're the unborn, never to be born, never to die. Remember the old thing in Hinduism, we're all children of a barren mother, yes? And people would go, what? What does that mean? Well, we're all children of a barren mother. So no one has been birthed, no one's going to die. Yeah. There's an appearance of birth and death. Yeah. So being ourselves reality and not thinking that could possibly be true. Yes. Do we want to question reality, or that which cannot think it could possibly be true? And maybe if you see you're not that which cannot imagine it possibly being true, you may find out through seeing what you're not, what you are. And you may not even come up with a title. You just feel an incessant onness. You're never not here. Uh, you're not trying to get into the moment because you realize you can't be out of any moment. Yeah. There's no moment without us. And all of these things become like, for some people, it's like crazy glue. It quickly, there's an adhesion to it immediately. Some people, it needs to be applied, yeah, a few times. But the fact is the fact, and it's always going to win out. You're not going to see awakeness as a goal or something or somewhere you're going to do or arrive at. You're going to see it as the fundamental fact, awakeness. Now, and if you get the dreamlike quality of this event, you can see that in this dreaming, we could seem to be not awake to that. Yeah. We could seem to be living as if we're not awake. But no matter how many years in time it goes, just like when you have a dream at night, and let's say you have a dream and you wake up and you remember it was a 5-second gulp of a giant smoothie or something. And then the next night there's dreaming and you wake up and it was a 300-year epic. You've had 8 reincarnations and all this and all that. How long did it take to wake up from both dreams? Did the 5-second dream demand less and the 300 dream demand more? Or do you wake up from, no matter how long or meaningful the dream was, or how short and meaningless the dream was, you wake up, yes? And when you wake up, no matter how invested you are in the dream, the waking up brings you right out into an awakeness, let's say. We call it the morning. And really, what's the greatest product the spirituality could ever find as a business would be a morning to the awake dream. If you could have a built-in morning for the awake dream, it would be really freaking cool in a way. But unfortunately, we don't. We only have the morning to the night dream. When we wake up, it can go on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. So, but fundamentally, are you not awake and you can become awake, or there's just an active denying of the awakeness? Yeah. And thank God it's not you that's actively denying it. It's just the head, the GPS is in an active denial of the awakeness to the point where it has established you as unawake and you're trying to become awake. Yeah? What would happen if you try to become awake and you're awake? What could happen? Absolutely nothing. Yeah? Which would tell you something, yes? So all your attempts to become awake probably haven't ever stabilized, yes? Because you already are awake. The head just doesn't think so, yeah? So what would happen if you lost interest in the head that doesn't think so? Wouldn't the fact of awakeness start bleeding through this whole event? Yeah. Not as something you achieved or you mastered or you got, which you could lose at any moment if you act in another way, but just the basic realization, awakeness, yeah, is the basis of this whole event, awakeness. Now, you and I can seem to be asleep to that, or we can seem to be awake to that. One would promote a traveling heavy, the other may promote a traveling lighter. Yes? But the fact is, awakeness is the fact. Or do you want to argue that we're not being ourselves reality right now? And if you do, take it up with Ramana Maharshi then, because that's what he said. He said, being ourselves reality. Yeah. Not becoming ourselves reality, not unbecoming ourselves reality, and then wanting to become ourselves reality, but being reality, being right now reality. So if there's no recognition of that, You must not be that which has no recognition of that. Obviously, yes? So if there's something that somehow we've saddled up with, or we're identified as, or we take to be us, has no recognition of the always at all time awakeness, then we must not be that. Yeah. Wouldn't you arrive at that? It's not like a maze-like logic. It's just, if I am reality and I don't think so, that which I believe is me not thinking so cannot be me, obviously. Yeah. And what would happen? Bingo, you hit the money. It's not you. So instead of trying to become something you already are, you see what you're never going to be. Yeah. Bammo. You fall into it. You don't arrive there. You fall into it in a sense. Yeah. So now, and everyone's always wanting something to stabilize. The reminder, if you seem to ever forget, is readily available because the head keeps living as if it's not awake. Just goes on and on and on. So, and what would see the head living as if it's not awake? Awakeness, yes? What is informing you that you're not that? It's awareness, isn't it? It's a seeing of what you're not. Now, the seeing doesn't have any name. It's not a seer. You are, I am the seeing of what I'm not. Yeah. It's awesome because what I'm not's going to keep appearing as long as you're here. And so now you have the most incredible billboard constantly revealing to you you're not that, going up. No matter what road you're on or where you turn, yes, there you're not. Yes, the you not arises, and you can see it because you're already there. Yeah. And now suddenly, instead of starting at the point the selfing arises, you see that point of selfing arises from what you are. And then there's a convincing that bleeds into the action figure. And now it's totally okay with not knowing shit. Yeah. It's totally, it sees so clearly because it's not the glasses that this body is, but what's looking through it. And from what's looking through it, it bleeds through the body and you get it. You become convinced of certain things, never, never, never to debate or think about or anything. Yes. It's a done deal. Like Zen would say, blue is blue and red is red. That's what happens. Being ourselves reality triggers that what's wanting to become reality is not us. Yeah. Bammo. Blue is blue. Yeah. And in this case, blue is not red. And oh, how I, let's have that little thing you put on your waist that gives you every second a zap to keep you in the present moment, or get a 308 thing rosary and say it all the time. It's better than that. The head's constantly revealing itself, and when it does, I'm not that. So you live in a constant reminder. Constantly. Yeah. What more do you want? It doesn't stop because it never was you. Yeah. It's a manufactured program. As long as there's breath and life in the body, it's going to play. Yeah. Unless it goes brain dead or wet brain or something. Yeah. It may completely forget the plot, but it will have a plot. Yeah. It will lose complete recognition of what it was seemingly for 70 years, but it still has a plot. Yeah. It still keeps doing what it does. Yeah. And with this knowledge of it being what you're not, you can recognize it. and it will fortify that which doesn't need to be fortified. Yeah. So when you believe that for you to stay clear, you need to remember something that you can't forget, well, there you go. Yeah. It's going to play itself out. You'll see it. You'll meet it with I'm not that. And there you go. It diffuses so much shit. Yeah, it does. That's why I go some places you would think you would have human contact. There's no contact. I just go, they go, no one says anything. They don't even come out and say hello anymore. I just go in, go out. Yes, it's just everything's clear. There's no animosity, nothing like that. Just there you go. Yeah. Hmm. I don't see it working any other way. I don't. Because if that feeling that you've had so much assurance in has believing it's its own reality, uh, and you start there, you're caught in a cognitive dissonance, obviously, because when you hear the message being ourselves reality, it truly, truly, truly doesn't get that. It thinks it's a reality, but it doesn't, it cannot get it. Yeah. Which is great news. Yeah. If something can't digest food, why would you keep giving it the food? You might as well use the food for other purposes. Yeah. So now the interest and attention I was constantly feeding it is now free from that occupation and it enriches your day. Yeah. I'm not doing shit. And it's a pretty full day. Yeah. I've changed. The Zoom was in the living room. Now the kids are here. It's in the bedroom. That's pretty much as I've moved, so to speak. Yeah. It can't be the day that's so full. I must see it as a full day. Yes. If everything is inherently empty, as they say in Buddhism, meaning it has no meaning in and of itself, then you and I must be giving it the meaning. Yes. Remember the old meaning that was given all the time? That you had to earn whatever peace you get or joy, all this stuff. There was so many requirements just to be fucking okay, on and on and on and on and on. There was something we call in recovery playing God that had you just fucking pinned up on a wall. Yeah. And yet you hear a statement in non-duality and in these other methodologies, if you call it that, the open secret and the gateless gate. What do you think that means? When they say this is the open secret, is a secret if it's open? A gateless gate. How can there be a gate without a gate? Yes, exactly. We had this today at the recovery thing. How many requirements, even innocently, like one of our friends that used to come here, when he got ready to get with God or something, he would have this music on, open a window, put some incense, da da da. It seemed like a lot of requirements on his side to meet God, which is always available at all times, right where you are, no requirement necessary. Yeah. And so then we would point it out and he got it. He said, wow, that's a form of playing God the head is doing with God. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think people are afraid that if you realize there's nothing to do, it's just going to like scrape all the meaning of time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't I have to earn and have a purpose to get meaning? Or it seems so scary for the head to see you as empty, obviously. And you can see the biggest hurdle most of the time is the idea of personal doership. Because if you're not the doer, then whose life is it anyway? It's a totally frustrating situation for the mental logic. Yeah. And if you have haven't sat in this place many times, what mostly irritates people is when you start talking about there is no doer. It just really, you can see the ass cheeks start squirming and stuff like that. Yeah. Because the whole basis of this whole appearance, this whole dreaming is rooted in that you're the doer of things, and it uses the opposite, that you're the non-doer of shit you should have done. Yes. It's constantly like scraping identity off of everything. Yes. So it doesn't say there's no doing. It just says there's no doer. Yeah. Now, people believe if there's no doer, there'd be no doing. But in fact, there's plenty of doing with no doer. Yeah. And when first people hear this, they immediately go to this: I'm going to lay on a couch all day. Yeah, this is how the head reacts to I'm not the doer. I'm going to drop a lot of acid and do this right away. You have to realize this isn't a momentary break. You're not the doer. You've never been the doer, and you've lived a boring, ordinary life. You've never been the doer. Events happen, deeds are done, but there's no individual doer thereof. Yeah. Now, people would say, if there's no individual doer thereof, how can there be events and deeds? Yes? That's the belief, that's the creed, that's the religion of the head, is if there's no individual doer, then how could there be events and deeds? Yeah. But in fact, events and deeds happen and there's no individual doer. It looks like completely opposite, doesn't it? Yeah. Because one message is starting before zero and the other message is after zero. Yeah. So the idea of being the doer is extracted by the claiming of the doing. Yes? Yes. The head, you are not, there's not a little like 666 tattoo on your cheek that you're the doer. Yeah. There's no stamp. Yes. This thing came up that you're the doer. How did it arise? Was there doing, even in this event as a person, was there a whole lot of doing when you were a baby without a doer? Have you seen young babies? There's a lot of doing, but there's no doer. The baby takes a shit, and the only way you know is by the smell of it. It's got a happy face. It didn't look like it strained or anything. It just dropped a load without any recognition. Yeah. So there's doing, yeah, and there is no doer. But the head has the doing claim to imply a doer, and it places the doer before the doing. And now you've generated, this head has generated so many feelings of guilt and shame and pride and ownership based on this little gem, this little mental gem of claiming the doing to imply a doer and then presuppose the doer before all doing. Yes? You want to read the 30 architects of the 12th dimension, just look at this. Yeah. This will go a lot further than anything else. See how the head manufactures the doer. Yeah. And see, what does it build the doer with? The claiming of doing. Yeah. Does the doing need a doer? We would say yes. But let's say, does the seeing need a seer? Does the hearing need a hearer? Does feeling need a feeler? No. Does a feeler need feeling? Yes. Does the doer need doing? Yes. Does the seer need seeing? Yes. Why do you want to go to page 58? Just look at it right there. When Huang Po says, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving, go into the head, and the head is based on the exact opposite. The head believes what's perceiving is the body that can be perceived. Yes? Now, if you feel Huang Po was a messenger, that's a damn good message. He's saying basically, whatever can be perceived, yeah, this means us right here, yeah, cannot be that which is perceiving. Hallelujah. What a relief. Seriously, what a freaking relief. Taken off your imaginary shoulders. Yeah. So that which is perceiving isn't the perceived. When I was young in AA, I had a privilege to share consistently for 16 years on every Monday night and give sort of a disguised satsang in the corridors of recovery. And every, when this first started to happen and you feel something moving through, you would think that that perceiving that was moving through was from the perceived. And then I thought, I better start working on the perceived so this perceiving will keep going through. But the perceiving made it very obvious the perceived had nothing to do with his condition. So if I was flipped out, it came out. If I was waiting here, if I had AIDS, it came out. If my fairy princess just broke up with me, it came through. It had nothing to do with the perceived, that which was perceiving or that which was moving through. Yeah. 16 years of evidence, living evidence. I got it before 16 years, thank God. It became obvious to me that my condition has no bearing on the condition. And my requirements have no bearing on the condition. And it was in losing interest in the requirements and all the things I had to do and this and that was going to not lead me anywhere. And then everywhere would become obvious. Yeah. Wherever, anywhere I was, the everywhere would become obvious. Yeah. It was all triggered by loss of interest. And then I saw the need to be liberated was not mine. Yeah. And I was freed from the need to be liberated. That was awesome. Really worked well. It worked so well. Yeah. Because something needs to be liberated and it can't be liberated because it's bound with itself. Yes. But I lost interest in that. And actually, to me, the real liberation is from the need to be liberated. How did I come up with that? That blows my mind. I would have just made up a new liberation. But no, the liberation was from the need to be liberated. Yeah. Yeah. If you're in the Course in Miracles, go read that chapter of I Need Do Nothing. Yeah. Because it talks all about everything. It says the mind, big M mind, if it intends it, it does nothing can stop it. So you have nothing to worry about. There's actually two ways, in a sense. You're either going to be dreaming yourself out of the dreaming, and as you do that, the dreaming will get happier, or as Ramana said, you'll see the origins of the misery and realize you're not the origin of the misery. Yeah. You'll see that which you called you as other, and you'll be relieved of that other. and you were never relieved as it. Yeah. When you took it to be you, the relief was very temporary. Now you're relieved from the other because it's other. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Do you ever stop? It's always the same, isn't it? The presence doesn't have any past characteristics or traits or future characteristic traits. It's the same. Yeah. If you went in on a bullet train and you think you really went out to lunch, when you get off, it's just the same. If you're intimately surrounding it all the time, it's the same. Yeah. Yeah. It's the it's the golden touch presence. And when you touch that, what you're not gets emphasized. It gets illuminated. You can see it. Yeah. It doesn't have an anchor. It's just blowing in the wind, literally. Yeah. All right. Who's running the show today? Mike. Anyone have anything they like to share or stuff? No. Cam is using the time to stretch out. That's good. Yeah, it's good out there. Yeah, yeah. That's what needs stretching, is what we're not. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, it's John from Florida.
Hey, John.
Hey, man, I can't find the raised hand feature. I got a new computer. I can't find the raised hand feature. I got some, that what you were talking about the doership, that there's events happen and deeds are done, yet there is no individual doer thereof. I went in for my third ablation heart surgery back in June, right at the end of June, right?
Yes, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, and like I said, the head really tried to have a field day with it, but because of satsangs, I just don't listen to it, and then I show up to the doctor and they told me, they gave me a choice, you can either have the shock treatment or it really doesn't fix the problem, or you can have another ablation surgery. So I was like, well, I go, has anyone ever had 3 ablation surgeries? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's unusual, but so, the head's trying to get in there like, oh man, you are screwed, but I signed up for it. I said, yeah, okay. And I go out, and this guy's like a world class cardiologist. He's a Chinese guy, and he's like one of the best in the nation, right? But he's really busy. So they signed me up. I said, Dr. Wang's gonna do the procedure, right? Because he's done the other two, and they've been successful. And they go, oh no, it's Dr. Lepersico. I said, okay. And right then, man, when the head started to like, oh man, this is really fucked up, and right then I just kind of paused. And what you said about, that events will happen and deeds are done, there's no individual doer there. All of a sudden that just came into to play in that moment. And I just kind of just, my shoulders dropped and I was like, you know what? He's not doing it anyway. The power is moving through him, like a great musician with the instrument, and all these things happen, I went to the surgery and I was like, really? I mean, when I went in and they pushed me into the operating room, there was no anxiety, zero anxiety. Of course they give you a little bit of stuff for anxiety on the IV, but usually there's some stress and anxiety, and I went in and instead of really worrying about what's going to happen, I was looking around at all the equipment and I was just like captivated in the moment, and and the surgery was a complete success. And like I said, just that perspective, man, is like it's life changing, man. You know, and if you really pay attention to each moment you're in, things are happening so fast that you really aren't doing shit. You know, the action figure is just has nothing to do with it other than reacting to the doing that's coming through, right? And the same with that doctor. You know, it was. I mean, the shit must happen so fast that that he really has nothing to do with it. You know, they'll take all the credit and the head will take all the credit when it's over and everything. But I just found that really profound. I've been wanting to share that for a while, man. It's like, and since there's not not a lot of people here today, I just wanted to put that out there, man. And like I say, just pay attention in each moment of what's going on, and it's like I said, you can't. There's no way you can be the doer because it just happens in that instant. You know, the head can't keep up with that shit, man. It can't. It can't. Yeah, like I say, it's that's cool, man. That's what a great perspective, man. I just, yeah, yeah, and it spurred me to to really try to to keep my weight down, and so I don't get tired of going to the hospital, man. So it's like I'm just trying to do my best at what I can do, and admit that I'm outmatched with eating and cooking, and just take it, Father. Like I say, put it in 6 and 7, and amazing things happen. And really, amazing things happen, man. And just the last example, since May, I've lost like over 60 pounds just from surrendering, man, saying, I'm outmatched. Like you say in recovery, I'm fucked, man. I'm outmatched. Help me. And then it works. It really is an amazing. I'm just blown away, man. I just love these satsangs, and that message is just it's timeless, man. That's it. I guess there's no time at all to it. It just is, and it's so cool, man. So thanks, Paul. It's just good to talk to you and see you back from see everybody back here, and yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you, John. I've really enjoyed your being here all these years. So yes, very enjoy it very much. Yeah. Well, people try to make things true. It's nice when you run into something that's true. Yeah. And you could really, yeah. If you ever read Ramana Maharshi, it's usually people writing about his teachings, and he would say, the absolute is who is there to surrender and to whom. Yeah. But he would say, if you're not up to seeing the origin of your misery, then surrender. Yeah. And thy will be done. So I feel the action figure isn't like a mystical mathematician. I think surrender works best on the action figure level. Yeah. Because its programming of being the doer isn't going anywhere. Yeah. It's a programming. And to try to convince or change a programming is another aspect of programming, literally. Yeah. But the action figure can come to a realization that it's outmatched, can come to many realizations uh, of its unmanagerial quality, yes, or lack of managerial quality. And to me, the flavor of surrender, the action figure uh, can taste that. Yeah. Sometimes the absolute, there is no this, there's no that, but the action figure can taste the flavor of surrender, I feel. Yeah. And that we're not going out of the realm of things, but there's something other than us that can have a great role in the role of the life of this thing. Yes. Yeah. And it's it's worked for millions of people in a sense. to bring relief where there wasn't any, and an exhale where there was just action, anxious breathing, and a dropping of the shoulders, and almost as if you get permission to be okay because you're outmatched. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes. Well, great. I'm very happy to know you, John. I'm happy it's going better. And I didn't even know what that thing meant, the heart operation.
I don't
Yeah.
really either, man. I just know it works. They go in through your veins and they restore
Wow.
the rhythm back to what it's supposed to be doing, you know. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's like really, man, there's some shit going on these days with medicine that's unbelievable, you know, and
They gave you a Motown beat.
yeah,
So
yeah,
your heart's beating
that's
like a
right.
scream.
That's
Wow.
right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Motown, dude.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's better than German techno pop. You don't want that. Your heart will explode. So, all
That's
right.
right.
Well, thank you, John, a lot. Thank you
Like,
for sharing.
yeah, man. Thanks, Paul.
Anyone else, Mike, or anyone? No? Hmm.
No hands, Paul. Yeah, Paul. This is Mike.
Oh,
Um,
Mike.
hey, um, this idea, not even an idea, but this lack of doership. I had an experience about 5 years ago that just not a picture, I guess, that showed up one morning, and I had been sort of in charge of everything my whole life, but I had this picture that I woke up seeing very clearly that I was in at Walmart or some stores like that, they have a cart that's made to look like a car.
Yeah.
And the kid's in there, and mom's pushing the cart around, and the kid's got a steering wheel. And he thinks he's steering. And he's looking at his mom, how am I doing? Hey, you're doing great, son, and she's going up the produce aisle and down the cereal aisle, and to me, and I really what I got, what the lack was, I'm not in charge here. I just think I'm steering this little cart, and there's some other thing, non-specified at that point. What that is actually moving, and it's not the individual that I'm used to
Yeah.
thinking that I was in charge. And for me, that's the closest, other than direct experience, other than having life happen, which is the way it seems these days, without much impetus at all, just some little inspiration, and that off you go, and there's no deciding, there's this better or that better, or should I make the old Ben Franklin, well, this is the positives, the negatives, and all those ways of choosing. You're right, it's such a relief not to have to do that, and not to have the feeling that I'm responsible for the choice, whatever that is. And so this idea of no doership, just every time I hear that, reminds me of that picture of sitting in that car in Walmart, I think with the steering wheel that's not attached to a goddamn thing, thinking that I'm steering and going where I'm going, and it's not happening at all. And it's such a peaceful feeling.
Yes.
It's just amazing and it's stuck ever since I had that experience, and since I had that little vision. And it's satsang brings it back, and it just shows up. We were talking, this just before we started here, just when there were two or three of us, we were talking about noticing things, not having something appear, or not digging things up, but noticing things
Yeah.
that weren't there before. Some reality that's not there, wasn't there before, and that's one of them. Is that things just happen now more and more, and rather than what should I do, I don't even think about what I should do anymore. It just sort of happens, and
Yeah.
and I don't even know what I'm doing until a week later sometimes. I don't even know why or what happened until later after the fact. Like, oh, that was because so and so. I don't know. And in real time, it makes no sense because I'm not trying to make it make sense. So
Yes. Mike, remember when that kid is first put into that car cart, immediately it gravitates that it's the driver.
exactly,
See,
exactly.
this is the programming. So,
Mhm.
and when you're an adult and you go to some place down south in Disney World or something, and you go on the African safari boat, and you're going to go down these waterways, and there's 9 people get on the board, and there's 9 steering wheels, and you go and you run into a hippo or a crocodile. Everyone has the feeling they're the driver of it, even though it's a computer thing on the bottom. And these are adults. And they're like, oh, I made a right and ran into the hippo or whatever. Yeah. It's so it's so part of the programming. Yeah.
Yeah, the conditioning, right?
This idea of the driver is also that which is driven. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the head. But in fact, it's the driven and it's not the driver. But in the head's programming, the driven implies the driver. So the driver is what's driven. But in fact, it's the car that's driven. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And is not the driver. Yes. So there's this little programmed uh, thing that triggers very fast. And there's no point in trying to get before it, because that wishing to get before it is part of the after. Yeah. You just see it and it will reveal its truth. Yeah. You're 35 years old and you're on that ride down in Disney World, and you believe you made the left turn into the crocodile. Yes.
Right.
With all the other knowledge, there's still the feeling comes right up. Yeah. Yes. There's a lot revealed there. Yeah. So seeing the tendency or the bias of the head, why would you waste another second trying to convince that it's not the driver? Just see you're not that. Yes. Yeah. It doesn't get it anyway. It'll agree to something in a controlled environment, let's say at a retreat. Once it gets out of those parameters, it kicks right back into the same programming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Trying to tell yourself that you're not the doer is not the way to have the doer
no,
disappear.
exactly not, because the self is the idea of the doer.
And
And so
yeah.
you're caught in the opposite of a path that doesn't go anywhere. So I'm the doer and I want to stop being the doer. This is duality, yes? You're neither the doer or the non-doer. Yes. Yeah. So this is revelatory because you see what you're not, and you'll see that it's programmed, it's finite, and it's not AI. It's not growing in awareness. It isn't. Yeah. Yeah. It's not growing in awareness. It's rubbed its shoulders with 30 masters, and it still thinks that person who got ahead of him in the Darshan line shouldn't have pulled that off. Yeah. It's just the way it goes. And if you don't know what Darshan line is, it's like when you're seeking a face-to-face with the supposed master. Yeah. So you're getting a darshan. He or she's there where you can bask in their physical glory. So, yeah, that's so funny. It is. People, I mean, even Amelia, I've never seen Amelia more aware than when I'm driving the car. And I've gotten like a fake brake and gas pedal So when she's in the passenger, because she's banging a hole through the fucking floor because she's driving. She's she's like she's super awake. She's like fucking wow, oh, like this. And I got her a little thing, a fake gas pedal and a brake, so she can act it out. Yes. Oh no, it's crazy. Now I could take that personally, which I don't. But the fear of me has brought her into a heightened awareness, which is great. Yeah. It doesn't happen in satsang, it happens when we're driving. Who am I to say how I'm gonna be used? Yes. Yeah. But it's a trip, man. I swear to God. She's funny. And then she's in the back seat and someone else is driving and she's there, braking and gassing and gassing and braking. So it's nothing to do with us. That's the great news. Yeah.
And in fact, the less focused I am on any particular thing, the more I notice the bigger thing, the
Yes,
peripheral
of
thing.
course, of course. Because the head tends to go myopic at the expense of panoramic. It just does. If you walk into a classroom and there's a black chalkboard and someone puts one little piece of dot of chalk, you'll go right to that dot. You won't sense the big blackness. You'll go right to what appears on it. Yeah. That's not you. That's the programming. Yes. Recognize the glasses you have that you have been given to wear, and you won't fucking hate them and berate it all day. Yeah, as Jesus supposedly said, forgive them for they don't know what they do. Most of us are in a state of without knowing. We are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the course says we don't know what's in our own best interests.
Of course not. Because we're not, that which we're listening to isn't of our own best interests. It's become Hal like in 2001. It's got its own agenda, and you're going to be at the expense of that agenda.
You were saying the other day something about the head being willing to sign up for a whole lifetime of becoming something, but
Yes.
wouldn't give you a dime for actually getting there. It's more
Or
about the
being.
process or
Yeah.
being anywhere. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it would love to get there slowly, but
Theoretically.
being there already is not that attractive to it. No.
Kind of scary, actually, I think, really. But
Exactly, because emptiness doesn't reflect anything. It needs a reflection. It's lives off of borrowed light, or let's say stolen light. That's how it appears. Yeah. So when it's the doer, when it's presented as the doer, it sees a reflection in all the doing and all the not doing. Yeah. It's like Narcissus in that pond. Every second it lives in fear that it has no image. So it constantly keeps reflecting an image. Yes? You want to see desire. Desire to become and unbecome is the engine of the head. Yeah? It has no desire to be, it has desire to become and unbecome. It has huge desire there, but it has no desire to be at all. Yeah? As the only desire it has to be is if it was in the future or it was once in the past. And it's not true now. Yeah. So if you look at Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths, when he says uh, there's a deep malaise or dissatisfaction that seems to cover this dreaming. Yes. We breathe it every day. You can't put your finger on it, but things, enough is not enough and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's suffering. They call it dukkha. And then the second is why is there suffering and desire. Yeah. So to me, what would be the original movement of the mental activity, which would be a desire to become and unbecome? Yeah. All right. And then the fourth is the path. That's the answer for it. So the desire is the mental nature of agitation. It cannot rest. Yeah. So it's constantly trying to become and unbecome. You're not that. That's the good news. Yeah. That monkey that you have to run up and down that pole to get some peace is not you. Yeah. That is not you. What needs meditation is not you. What needs meditation is that agitated head. Yeah. So people put their head on a pole and they try to follow their breath and they get some fucking relief as the action figure from its driving force, the head. Yeah. Yes. But unfortunately, as that person goes to sit down to meditate, the head has it as a meditator already. So whatever the meditation can do has been severely limited by being crowned the meditator. Yeah. Most people don't know that happens. Yeah. But it happens. It doesn't have to happen while you're knowing it. It happens automatically. Yeah. If you've heard about meditation and you go sit for the first time, when you're going down to hit the cushion, you're already seen as the meditator. Yeah. And you can meditate till the cows come home. You're not going to meditate yourself out of the meditator. You're not. I don't feel. Yeah. You may exhaust yourself and then see you're not the meditator. I think that it has the ability to do. Yeah. Yeah. So retreats have great value because they lead you never to go on another retreat, so to speak. Yeah. So the way you got to that point was going on retreats, and the success of the retreat was failing you in a way. Yeah. It was failing you. I remember I spent 3 weeks in a place in Thailand, and as I was going back to the town on a little tuk-tuk, that thing that had seemingly been suspended just woke up and rolled right in. And before I got to Chiang Mai, it was going 70 miles per hour. Yeah. I said, what is it gonna take? Well, I didn't realize nothing. That's what it was gonna take. So every time I was captured by I had to do something. The only solution when it failed was to do more, literally, or different. How many people stick with one form of meditation? Very rarely. Maybe they start with Zen with the breath, and if Vipassana, then Kabbalah plus this and standing on your head or whatever. Yes, we keep adding more and more because we're not getting any result in a sense. Yeah. And we're captured by, we got to do something for this to be produced, but what we are is unproduced. So all that stuff has a great value because it will fail you. It will fail, not you. It will fail as you. Yeah. And then there's a moment where it breaks. Yeah. And maybe you hear it, you've heard non-duality, and suddenly there's a getting of it. Yeah. Non-duality gave you a little taste, and then you threw it up or you made it something else. Suddenly you get more of the taste, and it's bammo. Yeah. And hopefully it becomes your last answer. Yeah. If you've been brought to the promised land, you're not looking to get to the promised land. If you've been brought to the promised land, you're not interested in getting to the promised land. Yeah. That's a pretty good indication. Something's fucking over. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Like you
Oh,
said, the last house on the block.
yeah. And there's just a big lot. And that's where you, yeah, you find yourself
Yeah.
on having never left.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Hallelujah. I mean, seriously. I mean,
Hey, Paul,
people
hey,
try to
Paul,
milk a day like a cow. They want to get every last drop out of a day. Yes, bro. Yes, Michael.
hey, Paul,
Yes.
Morale, how's it going?
All right.
Hi, thanks. Hi, Paul. Given everything you just said, I don't have a lot of history. I don't have a lot of knowledge of different systems, and I don't have a history of um, doing certain practices. But I do meditate now, and you know, to whatever degree I can, it works because my mind is still crazy. And this is just a small thing that came to me a while back when you were talking about the periphery, and I noticed maybe, I don't know, several weeks ago that because when I meditate, I can't really look at anything because if I look at anything, I'm thinking about it. If I close my eyes, I'm thinking. So the only thing that seems to work for me is to do that thing of looking to dissipating my focus and looking in the middle.
Gazing. Yeah, gazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever I do, I try to look like halfway between anything in front of me. And the minute I can do that, everything seems to be different. And the point I was going to make is that the experience I've had a few weeks ago and since then is that I'm aware that when I do that, everything in the periphery around me becomes periphery, including my body. Like the minute that I can go halfway, my body is the same as the dresser over there. And I think that whenever I'm looking at a thing, unconsciously, it's just reinforcing that I'm a thing.
Yes.
You know, and so anyway, just that's all. No big thing.
That's great. No, that little nugget goes a long, long way. No, seriously. Yes.
Yeah.
The house doesn't collapse. You see that it's made of cards. Yeah. Yes. The house does not have to lose its shape. You just see its shape is resting on cards. Yes. Yes. And therefore, you take no shelter there, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, when you see a thing, it triggers that you're a thing. Yes. This is why this place reinforces its view all day. Or I like to see it everything is seen as a reflective surface so it can picture itself. Yeah.
Yeah, or
So
even if that bin over there exists, then everything exists, then I exist. Do you know? Like that's kind of the logic.
exactly.
If I yeah, that just yeah.
This is why the course would play with that immediately. And lesson 2, you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. And so at times when, if you do that in a casual way, you see before you see a thing. There's a recognition of seeing, and there's no thing, and then there's the thing, and it's called a dresser.
Mhm.
And you'll get a free sample of what's going on here, which is it's constantly using the light to reflect an image of itself back. Yes? Yes. There's nothing to do about it. You just tell the truth, and then you find solace in it. It's not you. The more you realize it's manufactured and programmed, the more obvious it's not you. It's very cool. Yes. So more gets revealed about what you're not. And through that, there's more of an obviousness of what you are. You're not looking to become obvious as what you are. You're recognizing the machinations of what you're not. and that the other thing happens. Yeah. Yeah. So watch it. Watch, you're seeing anyway. You're gonna watch a TV show, you're gonna watch the cat in the yard. Watching it isn't much of an order, is it? You're watching all day. Just watch it with an understanding and see how it changes what you're watching. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be watching all day. If you're not watching with the eyes, you're watching with the head. Yes. You're watching thoughts, you're watching this, you're watching that. Yeah. Yeah. What about that which is watching? Not what's watched, but what is watching. So the way you get to sounds weird. Watching. Yeah. I said it so many times. I lost meaning in the word watching. It sounded like a part of a laundry, like a washer. Yeah, the little thing. I'm washing. No, watching. That watching is what we are. Yeah. It's allowing everything, this whole presentation is allowed by watching. Yeah. So it's not like if you're not watching a show, you're watching something else. Yes? You're basically watching at all times. Yeah. Yeah. Now, usually the emphasis goes on what's watched. Why not see what's watched isn't you, and maybe the emphasis will go on the watching. And then you'll capture your real nature, which is verb-like. Yeah, you will. You'll feel finally your real nature. Instead of being a biography of a noun, you have the livingness of a verb. You'll sense it. Yeah. Yeah. It's all emphasis. Yeah. What is heaven and hell? It would be an emphasis, really. Yeah. What gives one meaning to one side and another meaning to the other is emphasis. So we're living in a preordained emphasis. The head has taken over and is giving us an interpretation of our life. Yeah. And it's convinced us there's no other option but this. Yeah. Now we have become unconvinced of that, and we've opened up a possibility, and a lot of possibilities rush in. They do. Yeah. And it can take you as far back as you can go. And that's the land of being convinced. Yeah. 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 So then this isn't, how principles are override like temporary or moment to moment morals. A principle has more of an overriding effect. Yeah. Well, this is sort of like a huge principle that has a super overriding effect. Yeah. It's like the water that all the animals that live in it are unaware of. Yeah. It's that. Yeah. And yet we have a possibility of being aware. Why? Because we are already. What is watching but being aware? Yeah. When I put this screen down, I'll be watching something else. Yeah. I'll be seeing chairs or stuff in the room. Yeah. Seeing the light against the wall. Am I looking to do that? No. 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 All right. Hey, I'm gonna go off now. I went off already. Mike in Mexico, nice to see you. I'm happy we can all get together. I hope hanging out with you is as much value as it is with me hanging out with you. Yeah, you hanging out with us. I hope it's a shared experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is, no doubt. Thanks.
That's good. Judy Lovins, I can see by the look on her face. Yeah. Yeah. Alan Olson, he has come to the great peace of never getting it. Hallelujah. Fantastic. Merrill, yeah. Whatever you're going through, don't worry. On the action figure, just admit you're outmatched and we rely on a possible good instead of festering about a possible bad, yeah. Miak, nice to see you in your new abode. I got the things, yes. Sooner or later, we'll get together. I'll see you tomorrow night, though, here, I think. Yeah, yeah. John in Florida. Looking, I was wondering what happened. You're not filling up the Zoom as much. So, yeah, you lost 60 pounds of yourself. That's good. Cam, nice to see you, Cam. You got a little stretching out. That's pretty good. Yes. Yes. Mike G, San Clemente. Nice to see you, Mike. David Bitterman. There he is. Yep, he's doing his pranam workout. Susan Harris. Are you still in Cape Cod? No. Yes, I guess so.
Yes, yes, I am.
Oh, wow. Are
Yeah,
you ever coming back?
yep, in December.
Wow. Wow. Fantastic, honey.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we have Teresa. Harry, our great friend in Oregon. Lindy, now forget clouds, we're in the clouds of constellations. That's pretty good. Fletch, yes, give me a call later, Fletch, if you want. A way later, couple hours. Phone number. Hey, we'll be here. Saturday, we will not be here, but we're going to have it open. I'm going to be at this thing called Comic-Con down in LA. And I'm thinking we're going to open it up while we're walking around. We'll do a little narration of where we are. So if we get it together, just check in and see if the Zoom is open. But other than that, we're not going to have the satsang on Saturday, this Saturday at 1 p.m. Western time.
So I don't need to be available to host, Paul, or do you want me to?
No, you don't, hon.
Okay.
I can open up the room and maybe we'll show you what we're seeing on the Zoom. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that's what I do. I've never been to the Comic-Con. I'm going to be
Well, you better get your what you're going to wear ready.
no, I have an outfit already by what they have me in the comic book. I'm in a comic book. And I have a straw hat with some beads and like a t-shirt. So I'm in my wardrobe is my daily look usually. Yeah. So
But with,
so
with a hat.
so it's going to be cool. I think we're going to fly down there and come back the same night. But yeah,
Paul,
my friend has in the recovery world, he took what we were sharing and made a play out of it called Below Sycamore. And it ran in San Francisco, and we did satsang after one of the shows. And then, about the foreignness of what has defeated us in recovery. So he's written, now the comics have taken their own life. They have 5 of these graphic comics that they put into jails and everything concerning addiction, And so, yeah. So I'm going to be on a panel below Sycamore.
That's awesome.
Be nice to the AV guys, the ones who are. You said be nice to the AV guys there, the ones who are miking you up. Only if they're nice.
Oh yeah, I will, bro. I'll mention your name. It's Dave Bitterman. We'll see what happens. So Saturday we'll have it on if possible.
Would the link be on the events page or something else?
It's going to be on the Zoom page. Just use any
It's all the same. Okay.
Yeah, they all the same. And if it's not open, it won't be open. But yeah, I'll see what we can do. All right, thanks. See you guys. Oh, I didn't say goodbye to. Yes, I did. Teresa, David, Susan, everyone. Thank you. See you tomorrow night, hopefully, Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank